Hey insurance, this is Tony Cañas, and today I have a little bit of a personal post, so if that's not of interest, this is your one warning. As usual, I'm a couple of days late and a penny short, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to make a video for International Women's Day, which was earlier this week. There are many women who have marked my life and career, but three of them have had particularly deep impacts. The first one is my mom, Dr. Marlene Jimenez Carro. She was one of the first female pulmonologists or lung specialists in my native Costa Rica, and she wanted to have 12 children, but she married the wrong guy and ended up with only one child. Spoiled only child. 16 years later, she would have a daughter, and since I left for college only a couple of years later, we both grew up as only children. So my mom won the lottery with two only kids, basically. Mom dedicated her life to medicine and to her family, and even though she raised both Lucy and myself with little help from our fathers, she managed to be both a wonderful doctor and an absolutely amazing mom. When I was in early college, she became president of the National Pneumothorax Doctors Association. She created Costa Rica's pulmonary hypertension program, and she runs it to this day. She's currently training her heir apparent so that she might be able to retire one day. She's also the lead clinical doctor, non-surgical clinical doctor, on the National Lung Transplant Program. So basically, every lung transplant patient in Costa Rica is under my mom's care before the transplant and needs her sign-off to be able to get the lung transplant, and is under her care after the transplant. Mom taught me so many things, among them to find a profession that you love and work hard at it, to love unconditionally, and to always be kind. I don't think I have ever heard her utter a single word in anger. Just an amazing example to me, and has had a marked impact on both my life and my career. The second great woman that I want to talk about was my aunt, Elsie Jimenez, or to be exact, my great aunt, Elsie Jimenez. She was actually my mom's aunt. Aunt Elsie studied to be a teacher and taught in my native Costa Rica for a short time. And she was such a special person that many of her students kept in touch for decades after. During a time when very few women pursued higher education, Elsie left to do a master's degree in the US, where she would stay and teach for the rest of her career. She taught ESL, or English as a Second Language, in Winamaca, Nevada for most of her career, a tiny mining town a couple of hours north of Reno, where her huge heart, passion for her students, and her bulldog temper led her to become an institution. You couldn't go to the grocery store without 20 of her former students coming over to hug Miss Jimenez. She also opened and ran a tiny little Latin product store for many years. That's when she was living in Winamaca. That's where I had the amazing luck of spending 2 summers living with her, going to school, and perfecting my English during 5th and 6th grade. When she retired, she moved back to Costa Rica, but not to rest on a couch. She continued being a strong, independent woman until the very end. She lived her retirement like no one else I've ever seen. She kept an active social life, traveled all over the world, including Europe, Morocco, a great tour of South America, and even spent a month in the Holy Land, where she even rode a camel at almost 78 years old. Elsie taught me the importance of education, keeping good grades. That particular lesson didn't quite stick. Fighting for what you believe in, and being completely unafraid to take the road less traveled. Elsie convinced me that if my dream was to study college abroad, I could make that happen, and I owe a huge part of who I am today to her and her teachings. She was like a second mom to my mom, and like a third grandma to me. She passed away a couple of years ago, and I had the honor of giving her eulogy and being a pallbearer at her funeral. My mom and Aunt Elsie defined my childhood and created in my mind the model of what a woman should be and what a career woman should be. So it should be no surprise the third woman on my list who has had a massive impact on my life. I met Renee 8 years ago while we both worked at Nationwide. I'm not sharing her last name since she's an introvert, and she hates the fact that I'm recognizable within insurance, so she gets recognized as Tony's girlfriend. So I'm not sharing her last name. Renee holds an MBA and a CPCU and is significantly more successful than me when it comes to climbing the career ladder of her industry. Before turning 38, she's already a director leading an organization of 60 plus people for a Fortune 500 global insurance brokerage. Renee blew me away on our first date with her quick wits, incredible brain, and unsatisfiable thirst for adventure, and her competitive nature. She started talking about her latest trip to Kenya and about her future travel plans. At this point, I hadn't even been to Europe yet. Since meeting her, we have both seen massive career growth. We've moved 7 times through 4 different cities and 3 different states. Her passion for travel has taken us to 70 plus countries. Check out her travel blog, WillsTravelsTheWorld.com, including a safari in South Africa, a 6-week Eastern European sabbatical, and several visits to Southeast Asia, because she She loves Southeast Asia. Her addiction to adrenaline has led her to try skydiving. Thankfully, that was before we met. Led us to get our scuba diving licenses, to try parasailing in Mexico, paragliding in Chile, and doing a tour of Angkor Wat in Cambodia on a microlight plane. Next on her list is getting our private pilot licenses, which we're working on. Each and every day with her is an adventure, and she keeps me constantly on my toes. Renee can't stand not being, quote unquote, top 10% on anything she does, and is always pushing me to be better. Renee's bucket list includes visiting every country in the world and retiring by 50. I have absolutely no doubt that she will accomplish both. Many other women have had an effect on my life and my career, and I'm so thankful for everything they've helped me learn along the way. On this International Women's Day, make sure that you take some time to recognize the amazing women in your life and in your career. Thank you for tuning in.